Warning, this episode is not for the faint of heart. This episode is extremely scary content, psychologically scary, spiritually scary, mentally scary, which is why I chose to do it on Halloween Day. It's a totally improv episode, and I'm doing it from the corner of a room. The reason I'm doing it from the corner of the room is this is episode 1 in the series I will call The Corners of Rooms, or Room Corners. It's an extremely obscure fact that so few people know about, that there are exactly 0 episodes on the subject, or 0 videos on the subject. There's virtually 0 content on the subject, specifically talking about this specific subject of corners of rooms involving the occult, concerning demonic entities. You might, if you've read 100 occult books, you might have come across this vaguely here and there. But in no way, shape, or form have you been fully informed on the subject that I've had full common knowledge of for the past 5 years. 5 years ago, I learned a fact, this extremely obscure fact, that corners of rooms are the entry points where demonic entities enter. Let's put a disclaimer again for people that are going to be too scared of this content. I chose Halloween because it's a creepy time of year. According to legend, Halloween is when the veil is the thinnest between the worlds of the dead, of the demons, whatever the case may be, ghouls and goblins. Whether that's myth or not, I don't know. But what I do know is corners of rooms, I know for 100% fact, demonic entities. Okay, let me put this disclaimer on again. Warning, this is extremely sensitive information. Very few people know about it. It's not a joke. It's not a skit. 100% improving this information because I already know this information. But this is officially an Occult Unmasked episode. And I am filming this episode using another camera just in case anything is caught with the second camera. That's how serious I am about this particular subject. So this is an Occult Unmasked episode, episode 1 of The Corners of Rooms, or Room Corners, concerning demons, demonic entities. So this is an Occult Unmasked episode. In this episode of Occult Unmasked, I will discuss corners of rooms. What they are, why it's such a freaky subject, those who may be too scared of the subject of demonic entities, or learning one of the most buried secrets in the entire universe concerning demonic entities, I highly recommend you do not watch or listen to this information further. This information cannot be unlearned. It cannot be unheard. I'm John Razimus. I thank you for watching. So, this information... Demonic entities are drawn towards angles, fractals, shapes. I would say even Joe Rogan knows this. Via his DMT trips, he noticed, hey, the world looks weird. There's a bunch of fractals and angles and everything's stuck together. E.A. Coetting, the guy that people are unsure of whether he's legit, I personally know, whether he puts a lot of entertainment in some of his stuff or not, that he is legit because he has vaguely referenced the angles, the shapes, and he even is on record saying the nastiest of entities hide in corners of rooms. But before I heard that quote, before I ever even heard of him, 5 years ago, I learned this as a personal fact. I was haunted by a poltergeist entity for 6 months. The entity entered my room via the corner of my room every single time. So when something happens for 6 months straight every single day, so it's not just like once a week, once a month. This was every single day for 6 months. A demonic entity entered my room from the corner of my room. I heard it. It was 100% invisible optically to me. I couldn't see it. But I had a green screen. As you can see, I have duct taped and just taped, masking taped, this green cardboard you can get from the dollar store. That's my green screen I use today. And there's a reason I taped the heck out of this thing, because the last time I hung up a green screen was with really big push pins, the giant oversized push pins. I put like 2 or 3 of them and I thought it was good enough. Then I put 4 or 5 and I put more and more and more. We're talking, these push pins could probably hold the weight of 200 pounds, maybe 100 pounds, whatever the case may be. A lot of weight, because these are heavy duty push pins. A lot of weight could be okay, maybe realistically 50-pound weight, whatever the case may be. A lot of weight, concerning a piece of cloth, could easily hang from it. The demonic entity entered my room invisibly. I couldn't see it, but I could hear it every time. But obviously, I knew he was there. Over the top, other than the creaking, and it makes a creaking sound. Now, I'm in a corner of a room right now. I don't know if anything's going to happen. Probably not. Hopefully not. But I can't reproduce the creaking sound. It doesn't sound like that. It sounds sort of like when your house settles, but an exaggerated version of that. So the house settling, exaggerated version creak in the corner of the room, and then my green screen yanked down. I watched it with my own eyeballs. It was yanked with full force, pulled down. I was like, what the heck? It's almost like a hand yanked it, an invisible hand. So I got more push pins, made more holes. I didn't want to make too many holes as I was renting the room. But I stuck it up again. Literally, we're talking no more than 10 minutes later, it was yanked down again. And I heard the creak multiple times that night. And at that point, I was like, there's something to this corner of rooms thing. That's freaky. I lived with it for 6 months straight. I could write an entire book on corners of rooms. I'm definitely going to write an entire chapter on corners of rooms in my book that I'm writing. It's a subject so secret, so occult, so hidden from the world, and I wonder why. But demonic entities love fractals, they love angles. Why is that? The reason is, according to Joe Rogan and other occultists, even though they don't know this information, they have a piece of information that helps me see from the perspective of this slightly higher dimension. They see our 3D world / 4th dimensional world. They see it in fractals, because when we look at their world, we don't see anything. It's invisible. But when they look at our world, it's not like watching a movie. It's not like watching a 3D movie. They see some weird angles, and they have to enter these angles to enter our world. And the Chinese knew this many thousands of years ago. The Chinese who invented Feng Shui. Feng Shui is the art of placing objects in a room which resulted in a positive yin and yang. And the yin and yang energy being positive Fish tanks, I have been told, fish tanks are in almost every Chinese restaurant because it's Feng Shui positive, and they place them very specifically so the positive energy enters the restaurant and negative energy is pushed out and pushed away. I have a Feng Shui book, and I'm going to thoroughly read it. I've read a few pages here and there, but I read enough to know that, whoa, this exactly matches up with corners of rooms. The ancient Chinese Feng Shui masters, they knew that in every room on Earth, there's a positive corner. We're specifically talking about a room with corners. I guess a room that's a sphere, it's anyone's guess. But the ancient Feng Shui masters learned that any room with corners has a positive corner and a negative corner. And out of my own personal conquest of, not conquest, but just quest for knowledge, there's a lesser negative corner and a lesser positive corner. So if a room has 4 corners, there's a negative corner, a positive corner, a lesser negative, and a lesser positive. I would say it generically is something like a corner for demonic entities to enter your room and a corner for angelic entities to enter your room. As far as these lesser negative, lesser positive, it's just leeway. It's kind of like you get the good guys get this side of the room, the bad guys get that side of the room, whatever the case may be. I can tell you this much. After learning the information that corners of rooms are entry points, they're also known as the crossroads. The crossroads to the underworld, to the demonic realm. The crossroads, if it was a physical place, it would not be 84th and 9th Avenue. It wouldn't be Wilmont Street and Colorado Avenue. It wouldn't be physical streets. You always see physical streets. And that's just an example what a physical crossroad looks like. In Voodoo, Vodun, Haitian Vodun, crossroads is part of a ceremony, and even some Vodun practitioners know about the corners of rooms, but they keep it a major secret because I noticed not all Vodun practitioners know about it. But enough know about it where they have designed corner-shaped shrines, where they use a corner table and they decorate it, specifically the corner. So some occult practitioners know this. It's such an obscure mystery that there are millions who claim to be experts in the occult and know nothing about it because there's exactly 0 videos on this subject on all of YouTube. 0. So, anyway, right now I'm in the positive corner of my room. And how do I know it's the positive corner of my room? Because the negative corner is actually full of a bunch of stuff. I was going to clear it for this video, but I'm making this video on my iPhone because I don't have much time to edit. I want to get it up for Halloween. Happy Halloween, everybody. 2016, October 31st, making this video brand new, recording it with a second camera. If the second camera catches anything, in episode 2 you will see it. But if the second camera didn't catch anything, then I won't bother wasting your time with it. But I am going to make a feature episode, let's say episode 2, in the corners of rooms will be me filming in the negative corner. Now, how do I know what a positive corner and a negative corner is? I wouldn't say I'm a medium. I wouldn't say I'm a psychic. To be honest, I tell you I'm legit, and that most mediums and most psychics are fake, and that's the difference between me and them. But mediums and psychics are too close to occultists. They're too close to witches. They're too close to black magic practitioners. And I'm an anti-occultist. I'm an anti-witch, anti-warlock, anti-black magic practitioner. I have never practiced any of that stuff. I learned about corners of rooms from first-hand experience from a poltergeist entity haunting my room for 6 months, not this room, which is why this room doesn't have items flying off the shelves every 5 seconds or every hour on the hour. But this room does occasionally have a few tiny things move to the point where I'm not 100% sure if it wasn't stacked improperly and someone opened a door and closed it and the wind pushed it or whatever the case may be. I'm not paranoid. If something knocks over, I give the benefit of the doubt that maybe it's just a natural occurrence. When you're living in a poltergeist room for 6 months, a really, really active one that I was in Santa Maria, California, and I made over 2 hours of videos on this subject. Look at my past poltergeist videos. I have a playlist called The Poltergeist Haunting of John Razimus, if you're interested in that subject. But it was neatly stacked boxes flung off, neatly placed bottles knocked off, neatly placed things knocked down. I'm not going to go into details on all the things that were knocked down and played with because I'm writing about them in my book, which I don't have a title yet. I'm still writing it. I'm not selling it. I just want to inform people. It's important. This information is important enough to me that I do want to write it down for future generations. After I'm dead, I want people to know this information existed. It's legit. It's real. Even if I don't make a penny, and I hope to hopefully at least pay for what I'm paying a book binding factory to bind my books. I'm shopping around for book binding factories, try to cut out the middleman. But I just want to pay for those costs. I really don't want to make too much, or if any, profit. What I want to do is get this information out there. I am going to put it in PDF format. I'm going to try to put it in Kindle, blah, blah, blah. But as far as corners of rooms, very, very, very deep, very, very, very dark subject. Robert Johnson, the guy who famously sold his soul to the devil to be a blues musician, genius, prodigy. People that knew him claimed that they heard him play and heard him sing at the club, and he sucked, and he was so bad he was booed off stage, and they wouldn't even let him on stage. He was bad. He went away for like 3 months, came back, and was the best guitarist and singer and musician they'd ever seen and heard in their life, which sprung the legend that he sold his soul to the devil, which he never denied, which also prompted more rumors about it, obviously. But the crossroads is what everyone says. He met the devil at the crossroads. The devil apparently appeared to him as a black man holding a guitar, showed him how to play, showed him how to sing, and Robert Johnson copied his style, the devil's style. But that crossroads, everyone thinks it's a physical crossroads. I think if that instance took place, and it could have, that it took place in the corner of a room or while Robert Johnson was sleeping, and he left his body, went into the astral plane and talked to this entity in a demonic dimension. Slightly higher dimension, fifth dimension, fifth and a half, astral. I'm going to go into detail and talk more about what I know about that, which is not that much. But what I know about corners of rooms is they are entry points for demonic entities. There's a sinister, now defunct, Satanist group called the Order of Nine Angles, not angels. And there's literally a guy that calls them the Order of Nine Angels. And everyone that talks about the Order of Nine Angles quotes their Wikipedia page. Jeez Louise, I barely know anything about them, and yet I know a billion times more than these people with all these views and subs claim to be occult experts. The people, or the dude who now converted to another religion, he's kind of a slippery guy. Let's ignore all that. Someone made a comment about the Order of Nine Angles that said that they learned that demonic entities are attracted to angles. Now, this episode video series will have nothing to do with the Order of Nine Angles. But that comment someone made is very accurate, because demonic entities do obsess on and are attracted to and use angles as entry points, which is why they use the corners of rooms to enter your room. Ancient Feng Shui Chinese masters knew this. They haven't really passed it on. Perhaps that art is dying, other than generic decoration of furniture. It goes deeper than decoration of furniture. It goes into positive and negative energies in rooms. I know for a fact there's a positive and negative area in every cornered room on Earth. And if I can enter that room, I can tell the owner of that room, or I can tell anyone. All I have to do is spend maybe an hour in that room to find out, or maybe a day. I guess it really depends on how active the forces are. If it's an abandoned house, maybe it's still active. I guess it really depends. All I can say is every room I've ever entered for the past 5 years, not even wanting to, I've accidentally discovered, oh, there's the positive corner, there's the negative corner. Something very few people know, very few people even know exist. Wanted to share that with you. This is episode 1 on the corners of rooms. This has been John Razimus. Happy Halloween. Be seeing you.